Kate Norton will never forget the moment a giant tree came crashing through the roof of her home.
It was the biggest tree on our property. It's estimated 200 metric tonnes, and it made an extraordinary noise coming down, completely collapsed the house.
A year later, she's got an insurance payout, reports on bushfire risk, soil and engineering, and a planning permit. But her home remains a mess of rubble. In some ways, time has stood still.
There's all these broken pieces of my life are still there, and nothing's been changed. Nothing's been touched.
Council data shows the storm damaged 173 properties, mostly homes. 76 of them were deemed uninhabitable. Locals say maybe a handful have been rebuilt.
Material shortages are a huge issue. Supply lines are not great. Pine is running short, plaster's running short, so we don't actually know how long it's going to take.
The Insurance Council says the storms caused nearly $300 million damage across the Dandenong Ranges, around Hepburn in central Victoria, and due to subsequent flooding in Traralgon in Gippsland. The storm led to 33,000 insurance claims. A year later, more than 10% are still unresolved. When we were here almost a year ago, the sound of chainsaws was constant, and this block around me was full of fallen trees, huge fallen trees. While they're mostly cleared now, it's an issue across the hills. There's still a lot of work to do.
You go to pockets of the hills like a war zone. The damage was so great, like massive trees. It can't be fixed in a week or a month or even a year, and that's why we need to continue to support the community.
A lot of the infrastructure is still badly broken, but the community is strong, gathering together to weather the ongoing storm. And last year's storm also caused the busiest day ever for Victoria's state emergency services. But in some parts that were badly affected, including here in the Dandenong Ranges, people couldn't even call for help. 30 communities lost telecommunications, including 000, for days. And some of those issues that are underlying that still haven't been resolved. Zalika Rismal reports.
Walking through Janine Spink's beautiful garden, it's hard to believe just a year ago it was a mess of fallen trees.
There were trees down everywhere. You couldn't see the grass anymore.
The wild storm trapped Janine in her home, and telecommunications outages meant she couldn't call for help or even contact her dad in a cottage just metres away.
I had a terminally ill father in the cottage with no heating and no means of gaining medical support for him.
We were really concerned how many people might be trapped in their homes, and we didn't know.
Janine's father urgently needed to get to hospital. She eventually made it out on foot, climbing over fallen trees and power lines to reach town and raise the alarm. A year on, connectivity remains as unstable as ever. Local telecommunication towers still rely on backup batteries that only last a few hours. And in an area vulnerable to natural disasters, worried locals want action.
You need to have generators and things that have got a backup system. We were very lucky nobody was killed.
Residents are even offering to maintain new infrastructure for providers.
If the community can go on that journey with them, well, we're more than happy to do that.
The communication struggles here in the Dandenong Ranges continued long after the storm passed. Some people were without internet for more than 3 months, while Mount Dandenong Primary School was cut off for weeks, right in the middle of lockdown.
It was really hard, and it was really hard to keep kids connected.
A council survey shows the stability of the network has deteriorated since the storms. The frequency of power outages is up by 40%, while internet outages are up by a third. The state government says it's working on solutions, but as residents embark on another winter in the mountains, they feel they can only rely on one thing.
The way that the community came together to support one another was unprecedented.
Helping each other along the bumpy road to recovery. Zalika Rismal, ABC News, Dandenong Ranges.